We fixing to make this town real smoking.
Do you guys mind if I take a second to review Street Fighter 6 currently as it stands? I know it's going to be a hot take, but I think Tekken 8 is in danger. I was very skeptical because, Street Fighter 5 was a disaster. Even though it tried to recover, it still didn't fully recover because Tekken 7 won, Tekken 7 beat it, and Street Fighter 5, it was always seen as the underdog. But Street Fighter 6 is so much different. Even in just the marketing phases before the game came out, it just looked so much more evolved. You can tell that they were really giving it all that they have. And now that the game is out, I've been playing it, put a lot of hours into the game. I mean, boy, that game is amazing.
Watch this, he exit. No, not that one. Oh my god, it worked. I did that. That wasn't an accident. That was on purpose.
First, let's talk about the bad. The bad for Street Fighter 6 is a very short list. The world tour, walking around New York City, doing missions, oh my god, that is a joke. I will say, when I first created my character, started running around, it was kind of fun. I kind of liked exploring and seeing what was going on. Oh, what's over there? What's over here? But once you really get into the grind and you're doing missions, you're running up and down the streets and the AIs is punching you, that is when it falls apart.
Look at all these guys. All these guys are potential fights. Maybe it's just, what? The cops? Oh my god, bro, you stop to look at the cops and then oh my.
And then also when you talk about that story, it's not even really canon. It's just not canon at all, and it doesn't really even matter. Yes, it gives more context to characters that we know and love. You can see the parts of the world that they're from, the environments that they're in, but it's not canon. And then when you talk about, here's the second thing, when you talk about the actual canonical stories of the game, I played about 4 or 5 so far, and all of them was extremely bare bone. It almost feels like a bio. You know how Tekken 8 we have the bios and we've been reading through? It's not much, but it tells you the trajectory of where they're going in Tekken 8 and maybe how it will be resolved, the bigger thing to come. The stories themselves is just exactly what you would expect, which is bad.
I don't know about these stories. Is this literally it for the stories of the characters? Because these stories are so predictable. All right, let's go into the, what's it called? I want to go into the battle hub. The battle hub is tight, bro.
The good stuff is a very, very long list, and I do not want the bad section to discredit that because the title is not a lie. Tekken 8, it's going to have to do a jump jack moonsault slayer off the top ropes to be able to compete with this game. You also got to take into consideration the $2 million prize pool that is driving the competition. Every day on Twitter, I see people doing crazy combos, practicing. The $2 million prize pool is insane motivation for the whole competitive aspect of Street Fighter. I know the modern control scheme was very controversial, but I use it and I love it. One thing that I always struggled with, no matter what Street Fighter it was doing quarter circles. Bison's my favorite character. He has a lot of complicated stuff that I was never able to achieve. And the modern input, not only does it let me, get a taste of the power, get a taste of the moves, but it encourages me to learn more. I know people see modern as this easy, cheap tactic, and I would say that it is kind of cheap, it is kind of easy, but it is like a stepping stool for players who never were able to do these things to learn it. I think it's very good for Street Fighter, and I wonder what Tekken 8's going to do. They do have a lot of complicated things of their own that people will never ever figure out. Tanchet Upper, DSS, the Electric One God Fist. Seeing how Street Fighter is going about teaching people this stuff and getting people more engulfed in the game, learning, I wonder what Tekken 8's going to do as well, because it's a very difficult game. And this is another amazing point of Street Fighter. That battle hub where you can sit and you can fight other players, you can spectate matches, you can practice if you find a empty arcade. That is such a good addition as well, because a lot of times when you're playing fighting games, you can feel like you're alone. You can feel like it's only you. You're sitting there looking at a lone screen waiting for it to connect to an opponent. But Street Fighter does the opposite. While you're, waiting for a match, you're still seeing other people move around. You're still seeing you can interact with other people. You can spectate. Seems like such a small thing, but it's huge in like building community and building a sense of community. You don't feel like it's just you struggling, taking L's. You can back out of a match and then you stand up in this battle hub and you see just like everyone, playing the game as well. I think that's such a amazing addition.
They left. They didn't want to deal with it. Where you running off to? Where you running off to, Zangief? You didn't like that? Bro, I really be stalking people on here. I'll beat someone, they'll run away, and then I'll just like chase them around.
The whole creative character aspect, you have all of these abominations running around. When it comes to fighting games, I'm always on the fence about creative characters because I think they do have a potential to destroy the competitive integrity of a fighting game. In the past, when you talk about like UFC or like WWE, they always end up so busted and overpowered. But I like how Street Fighter, they give you the opportunity to create a character, but then they keep that separate from the actual game itself. Like you can't use your created character against Yuri. Those two things are separate. It satisfies both. It satisfies the people who love to create those things, but it also satisfies people like me who don't want that a part of the game. And it makes me think of characters like Combat. Street Fighter found a way to have a Combat, but also not upset people like me. As I was playing it in a live stream, a lot of Tekken fans popped in and say, is this game really good? Does it live up to the hype? I spent a lot of hours playing this game and I would say it definitely lives up to the hype and it probably excels it. The amount of people saying all the good stuff, it really doesn't do it justice. When you play this game and you see how fun it is and you see like all of the different options, like let's talk about gameplay. I love that the game, it seems easy, right? You have modern controls, you have simple inputs. The parry seems very busted, like you can parry everything, but then you realize like, oh, the parry doesn't do this. The parry can be broken with a grab, and you can play Street Fighter, and within hours of playing, you start to form like tactics. You start to be like more strategic, like, okay, if I do this, the player's gonna respond this way, so let me fake like I'm gonna do that and then do this. I found myself like doing a lot of like rock, paper, scissors. I don't know if that's the correct term to use, but that's what it feels like. Like I was playing JP, he has a lot of like keep out obnoxious attacks, and I could see how players was like trying to react to what I was doing, and then I was trying to one up them. This game has a lot of things like that where you think I'm going to do this, so I do that. I think you're going to do this, so I do this. It's a lot of back and forth. And in my opinion, that's what really drives a fighting game forward, is when you have all of these options and your opponent can see the options, you can see the options, and it's just about whoever makes the best decision. It's about whoever plays the best in that time.
I panicked. At the end, I panicked. I froze. I froze at the end right there.
Even when I did lose, even when I did get body, I immediately realized what I should have did right.
I should have just did like triangle and just made them back up.
Sometimes you will die over and over and over and you won't see it. But with Street Fighter, you can easily see what the opponent is doing, and that doesn't mean you can stop it, but you can see it and you could think like, oh man, if I would have done this would have worked. But then you also got to think about the rock, paper, scissors. If you would have done that, they probably would have done this, and it just goes back and forth like that. And I think this is a game that, one, you would definitely need to practice, like to really grow and get better, but also you can play it on the fly and learn, which is something that I love to do. I can't give it like a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 9. I probably will give it like an 8 because the World Tour makes up 1/3 of this game. When you have 1/3 of your game being so unbelievably garbage, there's no way I can give it anything above like an 8. If that mode didn't exist or if it was changed or something like that, it would have been so much better.